You're back in the layout room. First coat of primer, you can see a rough coat, is up on half a backdrop. So the first peninsula and the first alcove have a bit of primer on. Looks like it might need one at least, but I'm not too concerned because there is going to be some sky paint going over it, which also has a primer, so I figure 2 coats of primer and then 1 or 2 coats of final backdrop paint should be enough. And really it's going to be the same blue paint like that one there. I don't know, not the lighting is not good, but yeah, so as you can see, you know, the humidity goes up if you're painting in, so obviously you should have windows open at least when this is drying. Also, I think this is already dry probably to the touch, so unfortunately there is the whole other peninsula, sorry about the fast moving, there is the whole other peninsula left to be done, so hopefully I'll muster some energy to do that soon. Sorry about the finger. There's about probably another half, so you're looking at about 60 feet here and then 60 feet there, and I might revisit some of these joints because they're not fully sealed, as you can see. I don't know if that's visible here, and it's not. There was no backing against the backdrop. Usually what people do is they put like a 1x2 or something, but because I'm right against the wall and these are really dominoes, modular items, so there was no room, and these corner pieces were added later. Well, I don't know if you can see, but this is what happens when you rush and I guess try to cut corners or try to do things good enough. And I knew I should have used the joint tape to put between these edges of the backdrop, but I didn't. I just thought that it would work without it, and I rushed, and then after a couple of days they cracked, and then I ended up putting first coat of primer on top of it, just to regret doing all that. And now I went back and I put the joint tape on all the joints again, and a bit of mud there, and then there's going to be another coat of mud, and then sanding, and maybe another coat of mud. So following up to the previous video, here is the second pass at taping the joints. This time it's a bit wider, a few more inches on each side, just to cover the joint better and have a nice smooth transition between the two ends. Kind of hide the tape. I mean, that's not really critical, but it's going to get painted as long as there are no bumps and stuff. So it will be sanded again. It's still drying. Some lessons learned from this is that if your space is a dungeon like this and your ceiling is pretty low, like 6'7", and you have a tall backdrop, there's really no room for your joint or taping knife to move around. So it's really hard to do this stuff, especially once you have the valance up. Now, I guess I should have done the backdrop taping first and then put the valance. And I guess not even put the lights on. But yeah, I mean, you just have to work with what you have. So it is what it is. We'll see how this turns out in a day when it dries, and sand it again and see if there are any dimples that need to be filled with a third pass maybe or something. Just final pass on this, and then prime those joints. There's still a first coat of primer. It's kind of like thin, but it's better than nothing. And then there's going to be another coat of primer over everything, and then go with the backdrop color that includes the primer, and hopefully everything will look alright. We'll see how it happens. So I've painted the backdrop off camera. There is really no point showing you how I paint, and everybody has done this before, and if you haven't, you will. It looks nice, everything is blending in pretty well. But now let's take a look at something else. If you notice, the track on the bench truck looks different. The other track's gone, microengineering. And look at this, now it's PECO. Well, I've decided to switch tracks from microengineering code 55 to PECO code 55. I just couldn't work with microengineering. It's not for me, and I just struggled. So rather than struggling, I just said, get rid of it and get something else. Here we go. 4 boxes of flex track, and I'm thinking maybe I should have bought 5. A number of curved and large straight radius, straight turnouts, and then some crossings, diamonds and then double slips, a Y. But that's not all, because it wouldn't be insane in the membrane if there weren't 50 of medium-sized unifrog turnouts here, 25 each left and right. And hopefully that's going to be enough for this layout. And as you can see, already put some track down temporarily just to see how many pieces I need. They're not even connected or anything. That's about, well, there is track on the other side as well. So that's 2 boxes, 2 1/4 boxes. So I suppose that's like 70 pieces of track. Now let's take a look at something else. Finishing the bench work here for this branch line. That goes from there and then comes down and then crosses the entryway, and then this is, sorry about the movement, it's going to be industries. Actually, I'm planning to build a river port, probably a grain silo, and then a couple of tracks for the hoppers, grain hoppers, and maybe I might have some something like oil or something, unloading or transloading something there, maybe. And then here is just that's what I've started doing. So I've finally secured these surfaces, because everything is going to be basically leveled against this surface here, because this is the movable gate, and then now this needs to be secured in place, and then these are the crosses that are going to flush with the surface here so that the fascia can mount against. And then the track will come out here, and I'm going to glue this so that it flushes with the surface of this bench rock here, and then probably sand this area down a bit, have the track go nicely over. Here we are. Project's finished. Everything is secured, at least the incline. The branch line bench work is not secured yet, because I might have to cut this to do some water or dock or something, so that's not important right now. But the incline is there all the way. The glue's drying over there. It's about, I guess, 0.43%. This gauge is not really that accurate. I mean, it fluctuates between 0.52 and 0.43%. But for the most part, it's not really a severe grade. I guess this is just plywood is not even or flat. I might have to do some sanding, orbital sanding, and I'll have to do some sanding as well here to get this surface to transition nicely into the decline, and then it's gonna go down. That's about it. Here is a video from the future. Following up on that segment of building the incline or decline to the branch line, what happened is that I realized I should have gone closer here, because in the plan the connection between the branch line and the yard was too far out, and then the trains would have ended up going around the bend into another area, which didn't seem realistic. So in the plan I changed it, and now the branch line connects halfway into the siding on the yard, one of the yard tracks. And then the incline is still okay. I mean, it's probably like 1% or less than 1%. Goes around and then goes into the branch line. Well, now you're seeing more things. Don't mind the TCS command station. That's gonna happen one day. This is from the future again, so we'll see. You would climb up here, and I was supposed to put 2 tracks here, and I'm still thinking about it, but I'm not sure. I think I know how I'm going to, if I do that, hold the trains. I've seen people use a tortoise or a servo motor, and then they use one of those piano wires, and then it goes through the rail, through the track, and then it holds the cars from sliding down on the incline. And it might provide an interesting thing for operators to sort of bring the cars up or down or whatnot from the yard here as an interchange, and then leave them here, and then another locomotive would come from this, sorry about the movement, from this area, and then cross the gate and then pick these things up and leave something there. So I'm not sure how it's going to work, but anyway, I just wanted to follow up on this and show that this ended up being shorter than originally planned, not because of the steepness of the incline, but because of the setup of the yard. In the prototype, they actually have a Y. I don't have room for a Y. I mean, you know how Ys are, and you would need a lot of space for them. But what happened is, some of the people that are following my plan development on the Railwire forum said that in this case, a prototype is allowing me to create a puzzle, basically a switching puzzle that was not intentional, but because the prototype is like that, it becomes a puzzle, since you have to come from the branch line into the yard and then get the cars in and out and go around. So we'll see. In the future episode, I think you'll see what I mean with this shortening of the incline. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.